Rachel. Welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm feeling pretty excited because I moved 150 pounds, which was the heaviest single that I did in training before my last competition when I hit 154. So definitely on the right track. Haven't even started competition prep yet and it moved pretty fast. So definitely excited about that. But anyways, I'm going to take you through my full primary bench day. So let's just go ahead and hop right into it. I'm currently doing a back off 3 sets of 4 at 135 pounds on bench. And that's all just 4 working sets of bench. And I don't even have any chest accessories because I have a quick turnaround. My tertiary third priority bench day is tomorrow after my deadlifts. So making sure that I don't get too fatigued on this day is really important. Even next week, I'm not supposed to exceed an RP8 on all my sets. So overall, I think what's been helping the most on bench has been keeping it conservative and doing most of my rep work very, very light. And then even when I'm practicing the top end strength, not going too high on the RPE because it can be really, really easy to overshoot on that. And then you fatigue yourself too soon and then you think you're losing strength, you get all in your head. It's really, really easy to overshoot your RPE, especially on bench press. I'm trying to check myself on that. Feeling pretty good about that set. I hit 6 reps with an extra 15 pounds added on, so I'm 145 pounds, so 160 pounds overall. So I say my pulling strength is definitely stronger than my pushing strength. And one thing that I feel like has been really helping my bench press progressions has been actually taking my accessories seriously, specifically the vertical pulling accessories. So I am someone who loves to challenge myself on pull-ups. Sometimes I get to a point where I'm doing body weight reps on pull-ups and then I just burn out because I'll hit like 11. That's kind of my cap, where if I really wanted to push and do a bunch of body weight sets a week, I could maybe scrape out that 12th or 13th rep. But adding the weight is fun for me to be able to progress there, and then also being able to move up and weight on the lat pull downs and change the grip position helps a lot for progressions. And I just had 1 set of pull-ups, and then my last 2 sets for the 3 total sets of vertical pulling are cable lat pull downs. I'm doing the close neutral grip, and I'm doing 2 sets of 10 at 120 pounds, which matches the heaviest that I've done. And it's also moving the fastest that I think it's ever moved at 120. So overall, everything's looking promising. So I have successfully finally moved from doing 40 pounds for single arm cable rows to 50 pounds. However, it's still a little bit challenging. So I think for my last set, I'm gonna drop down to 40 pounds just so I can get a really, really good contraction, because I'm still feeling like I really have to control it to try to get a good full engagement at the back. So the cost of progression shouldn't come at the cost of actually feeling it, the mind muscle connection bodybuilder term. One of the times where it pays off to train with more of a bodybuilding mindset than powerlifting is in regards to actually feeling the contraction properly. So I'm still feeling it with the 50, but after the first 2 sets, I feel like I should just back off and focus on more of a contraction. But I will do that, and then I'll just have my arm exercises after. I'm just finishing up my arm exercises now. I have incline bicep curls, and then I have single arm cable kickbacks for tricep extensions. Overall, everything felt really, really good today. I'm feeling super excited to start competition prep. This is my second to last week of off season. So in the rest of this video, I'm gonna be talking about my week of workouts and how I programmed my entire layout for making sure I was running twice a week and lifting 5 times a week. So I'll hop into that next. And then next week, I'm gonna share my entire off-season progress for 6 full months. And then after that, I'll start competition prep. So moving right along to my full week of workouts, day 1 is my secondary squat day, and it always starts the day after rest day. So Friday I rest, and then Saturday is my secondary squat day. I start with a very light acclimation set, so it's either a double, a triple, or a single, depending on what week it is for the specific training block in particular. So I had a top double at 205 pounds below RP5, and then back off high bar, higher up, working on the positioning, and again, keeping the RP pretty low. 3 sets of 6 at 175 pounds on this day. This is week 3, so everything's kind of heavy, but still a little bit room to progress for week 4. And then I have a bunch of higher rep volume work, so really getting a leg pump on this day. I had 15 reps for 90s on dumbbell RDLs, and then 12 reps for the 50s on step ups, and then cable wood chops after with 30 pounds. And day 2 is Sunday, and it is a twofold workout. So I have my secondary bench day, so it's my higher rep volume focused bench day. I had a top set of 5 at 135 pounds, and then I had a bunch of back off sets of 7, and then I also had Larson bench, and I had a bunch of other upper body accessories. And then after that I have a run. So this is my steady state running day. So what I'm doing for this training block in particular is starting week 1 and 2 are my longer runs, and by week 3 and 4 I'm tapering it off. I only ran 2.4 miles on this day, and I ran at a 7:44 pace, so nice and slow to moderate speed, and then making sure that I am not fatiguing myself too much. I do have a full rest day on Monday before I go into my primary squat day, which I'll show you next for day 3. This is day 3, my primary squat day, and I was pretty pleased that I was able to hit 4 reps at 220 pounds. For this training block, I've been working on increasing the number of reps with the same weight throughout the entire training block. So the first week I just did a single at 220. The second week I did 3 reps at 220, and then the third week, this week, I did 4 reps. And then I'm going to be trying 2 plates, 225 for week 4, hopefully 2 to 3 reps at about an RP7. It's not anything too crazy. And then I also had to back off 3 sets of 5 at 200 pounds. And then a very underrated exercise that I had on this day was leg press. I think that progressing on leg press is really helpful for getting some good lower body hypertrophy without fatiguing yourself too much, to where you're not like loading your spine as much as you would on a squat or deadlift, but you're still getting a lot of hypertrophy, which is nice. And then I also have a run on this day, so because I'm always like really tired, I also have leg extensions and leg curls after. I'm always like dying on my run. So because I'm entering into my comp prep phase, I literally just did a mile at a 6:54 pace, and then I called it. Cardio doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to be going in there doing like 5-mile runs to call it a good workout. I still had a really solid squat day, and then I was able to run a fast mile afterwards, and it didn't really affect my progress. I was still able to. The next day, day 4, you already saw the full workout, so I don't really need to break it down for you, but this is my primary bench day. The next day I was able to rest my legs and then come in feeling fresh for day 5, which you'll see in just a second, which is my deadlift day. So I worked up to a top single at 325 pounds. You'll see me doing 275, 295, 315, and then 325, about RP7, and then back off 3 sets of 5 at 285. And then I also had medium grip bench. Split squats are an exercise that I really push on this day as well, and then I also had a core exercise too. But overall, this is my entire week of workouts. Every week is pretty consistent. Nothing is going to be like changing drastically. Even training block to training block, some exercises swap out here and there, but when you're in a specific phase, it stays consistent. And it might seem boring if you're used to like changing up your exercises and doing a lot of variety, but this is how you get results, just doing the same thing in and out, day in, day out, week after week after week, and that's how you get progress in the long run. So I'm excited in next week's video to show my entire 6 months of off-season progress before I start competition prep. But let me know if there's any other topics that you want me to cover in future videos. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next week for another video. Bye.